Okay, so the 7-day evaluation, this took place a month after the first day evaluation. Again, they told me to prepare to stay at the hospital for the entire day, and this time I was actually there from something like 7 in the morning till like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. During this time I had a whole host of tests, which included a CT scan, echocardiogram, an MRI. I consulted with the transplant surgeon, I consulted with the transplant nephrologist, I consulted with the nurse practitioner, had more labs taken, more blood drawn, and that was pretty much the extent of the tests there. But I just have to say that I do keep up with my yearly physicals, so had I not, then those tests would also be included in the first or second day evaluation. So just know that based on your gender and your age will dictate what other tests, if any, you need to have done. Ordinarily, that would be it. But what they do, they review the results from the first day and the second day evaluation, and if there's something there that requires additional follow-up, they'll send you for additional tests. As luck would have it, I had to have additional tests. It could have stopped there, but it didn't, not for me. I am allergic to everything outside, every grass, every weed, every flower, everything. So I have this allergy to a fungus that's out there for everybody to breathe, but I'm just one of those lucky people that is sensitive to it. So, you know, over the last 20 something years, I think I've been impacted by this maybe 3 times. And of course, at this particular point, it affected me. So what had happened, the MRI had shown I had a little bit of congestion in my lung, and the transplant team wanted to make sure all is well. They said they don't expect it to be anything, but they just have to go through and do all the necessary checks. They referred me to a pulmonologist. I went to the pulmonologist. They scheduled a bronchoscopy. They put a camera down my lung, looked around, just cleaned, lavaged all of the little gunk that was down there. And then the pulmonologist said, let's wait 4 to 5 weeks, make sure nothing else is going on, after which point, you know, if it's just that fungus allergy, we'll just approve you then. So I had to wait 4 to 5 weeks before he would approve me. During this time, the transplant center called me back and said that the transplant board had convened, they've reviewed my case, and pretty much they've approved me to be a kidney recipient pending approval from the pulmonologist. So that was great news. So still waiting. After the 5 weeks, the pulmonologist called, I saw the pulmonologist again and said everything's fine, it was just that fungus allergy. I'm approving you for surgery. So I waited about a week to hear back from the transplant center. I didn't, so I called them and asked them what the status was, and the nurse said they were just waiting for approval. I said, oh, we have that already. She looked in the chart, it was there, and so she said, okay, great, what will happen, the surgeon will look at this and will approve you and you'll be contacted. So pretty much the surgeon looked at the approval, approved everything, therefore I was approved to be a recipient and cleared for surgery. What happens is, officially, like a week after that, I received a letter and a phone call stating that you are now officially approved to be a kidney recipient, which means that even though you may have living donors lined up to want to donate, they also put you on the deceased donor list. So you could receive a deceased donor. Of course, that list is pretty long, but you're also put there. So that was good news. I found that out. During this time now, while during the 5 weeks, my husband also received a phone call. The clinic sent, the transplant center said, we're going to send you some tests to be performed, the initial tests. So they sent a FedEx package that had 24-hour urine container as well as some blood works that needed to be drawn. So For 24 hours, my husband has to collect all of his urine, and then you keep it in the refrigerator during this time. And then once it's collected, the following day you go to the lab, get labs blood drawn. The lab sends those tests to the transplant center, and those tests that were taken turned out well, fine. It just pretty much showed that his kidneys are healthy enough to be donated. So that was good. And then based on my approval, what happened is after that went through, they went ahead and started to schedule my husband for his evaluation, which was pretty much along the lines of mine with the CT scan and so on and so forth. And also during this time, also my brother in England, he received a package, well no, they sent him an email via the patient portal, the donor portal, had some orders there for him to bring to his general practitioner in England, and doing the same thing, the 24-hour urine test and the blood work. Once that was done, resulted in England, they uploaded the results to the patient portal and sent it through to the facility, and he is also pretty much on hold, because what happens is they don't evaluate more than one person at a time. When I say evaluate, not the initial blood and urine evaluation, but the more extensive MRIs, x-rays and so on and so forth. So my husband is first in line, and he's going to be scheduled for evaluation. Should he not be a good candidate, then they'll go on to my brother and then start to evaluate him. But anyway, so that's where we are in the process.